So Brad Spielberger from everybody's favorite website, Pro Football Focus, recently named one trade, free agent signing, or extension for all 32 NFL teams before 2023 training camp, which is in just under a month's time. Now, before we find out who Spielberger named for the Denver Broncos, what position would you feel like is the biggest position of need for the Denver Broncos entering training camp? Drop those comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts before the video gets started. I'd normally ask about that at the end of the video, but here I'm curious what your thoughts are before we go into this video. So drop those comments down below. All right, so without further ado, let's see who the Denver Broncos should bring in according to Brad Spielberger, and I will give you a hint. It is a free agent signing. So, according to Spielberger, the Broncos should sign Leonard Fournette, former running back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not going to lie, man. I don't know about that one. Let's hear what Spielberger has to say, though, before making any pre-reserved judgment. Denver signed free agent Samaje Perine, who brings pass catching and blocking ability, and will eventually get 2021 second-round pick Javonte Williams back from a knee injury, but an early down runner could be needed here to start the season. Fournette wasn't at his best in 2022, but the injury-decimated Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line struggled to create any rushing lanes. In 2021, Fournette's 3.2 yards after contact per attempt ranked 15th amongst running backs, with his 12.2 stuff rate a bottom 10 amongst running backs with at least 50 carries. While the two never crossed paths with the New Orleans Saints, Fournette and new Broncos head coach Sean Payton have the Louisiana connection. Fournette, of course, is from Baton Rouge and went to school at LSU, so this could be one of the better team fits available to him. Edge rusher could also make some sense here as well to bolster the defensive line, but Denver added Frank Clark last month. So Leonard Fournette, huh? I don't know about that one, man. The dude really struggled last year, and yes, as this article alluded to, some of it was due to the run blocking from the Buccaneers' injury-riddled offensive line, but also, when you look at Leonard Fournette on tape, it really felt like his legs were not very fresh. It seemed that he really struggled to generate juice and power with his runs, and he's a guy who's heavily predicated on power running, and that's something that the Broncos already have a crap ton of. I don't know if the Broncos need another runner who is heavily predicated on the power run game. Javonte Williams is somebody that's going to drag a bunch of defenders with him more so than he's going to burst free for a long run. So Javonte Williams, although he can certainly be more of an explosive runner, I would consider him more of a power runner, especially post ACL tear. And speaking of Pookie, it seems like he actually is on track to be ready to go for week 1, and it seems like he's going to be a participant in some capacity in training camp, which is going to be absolutely huge. Sure, there is a chance, knock on wood, that he may have a setback, but here's hoping that that won't happen and that we will have him ready to go for week 1. If he is ready to go, that doesn't mean that he's ready to take a full workload by any means. That's why Samaje Perine is here. But when you look at Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine, although their skill sets do somewhat differ, they really are similar players at the same time. What I have said ad nauseum on this channel is that the Broncos really need a speedy, explosive running back who can take some of those reps and threaten the defense to rip off an explosive run at any given time. That way, the defense won't just have to load the box up essentially, and it'll be 3 yards and a cloud of dust for a rusher such as Samaje Perine. When you have a runner who can cut to the outside and do a lot of outside zone and stuff like that with a speedy, more explosive running back, then that will open up your offense and in turn open up your play action game as well. Not saying that Javonte Williams can't do that stuff or Samaje Perine can't do that stuff, but we really need a specialist as a runner who is specially predicated on the speedy, explosive running game, the outside zone, that kind of stuff. Because of this, I really don't think Leonard Fournette, who's mostly a downhill runner, makes any sense at all for the Denver Broncos. It just doesn't feel like the right fit at all. I'd rather us go out and sign Kareem Hunt, who at least has some gas left in the tank in terms of being an explosive runner, and he can run some of the outside zone and that kind of stuff. He can run tosses, all that kind of stuff. Getting to the outside is really what we need a runner that is specialized in. And in my opinion, that's a type of runner that, as of right now, we don't have a proven commodity in. The Broncos do have Jaleel McLaughlin, the undrafted free agent out of Youngstown, as well as Tyler Beatty, who he signed as a free agent from the Baltimore Ravens. He's going into his second season in the NFL. They're both speedy, explosive runners, so I'm personally hoping that one of those guys emerges into that role for the Denver Broncos. But if not, the free agent that I would personally take a look at is Kareem Hunt, not Leonard Fournette. But speaking of Leonard Fournette, man, just on a personal level, the dude was in a scary situation a couple of days ago. He was driving down a Tampa highway and his brand new car caught on fire. Thankfully, he walked away unscathed. Same cannot be said for the car, but man, fortunate for Leonard Fournette to walk away from that unscathed, and clearly luck was on his side the other day in that instance. I didn't even talk about Dalvin Cook, man. He would also make a bunch of sense for the Denver Broncos. Either him or Kareem Hunt, obviously. They could fill that outside zone running scheme. That's what they've both been in for several years, both in Minnesota and in Cleveland. Obviously, they actually both have that Kevin Stefanski tie when Kevin Stefanski was in Minnesota. So, honestly, Dalvin Cook, along with Kareem Hunt, would make more sense. In terms of finances, I like Kareem Hunt a little bit more. That's why he was the first player to pop into my head. But I could also see Dalvin Cook potentially coming here. Although, financially, I would rather go in the Kareem Hunt direction than the Dalvin Cook direction. But I'm curious about your thoughts on this Broncos country. If we were to sign somebody in free agency, who would you prefer out of these three players? Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, or Dalvin Cook? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are two free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out to fellow members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, this has been another episode of Denver Broncos Syndicate. I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.